I'm resident of Gallant for YouTube. Jules Sains. That's my buddy Gordon Dymowski. That's my buddy Patrick McCray. That's my buddy Alan Gallant. We are here to review Dark Shadows 780, chosen by Gordon. This is narrated by David Selby, written by Sam Hall, directed by Henry Kaplan. So people will be getting report cards. Just not us. Gordon, why'd you pick this episode, buddy?
Well, the short answer is that nobody could decide on what episode we should do, so I threw that out there. I could have just easily said episode 2 or episode 1374, even though there's no such.
Yeah, you could say that.
That would have been fun. Trying to find out.
The long form is that I think this is one of the really. I've always loved this episode because it shows Quentin and Barnabas becoming allies. And it's, I've said this before on this podcast and I'll say it again. I like the fact that it wasn't like the typical, like, two heroes fight and then they realize, hey, we should be fighting this and move forward. It's about one person realizing, they both realize that, hey, look, they kind of understand what's going on, because Quentin says, hey, I know why you're helping me. You're a vampire. And Barnabas is like, okay, yeah, this guy's willing to help me, but you're cool with me killing Carl, right? And Carl's not dead.
Right.
And you think,
well, of course, the idea of it is Carl has put himself in a bad situation. Well, Quentin has put Carl in a bad, even worse situation, because there's no way somebody as unreliable as Carl is going to be allowed to wander around Collinsport with his knowledge. It would mean the end of Barnabas. There's no doubt about that. It would probably mean the end of Quentin, too. There's a mutual survival society between Barnabas and Quentin, I think, that's really crystallized in this episode. And by this time, they don't. Quentin doesn't, hate Barnabas. He's suspicious of him all the time, but he doesn't outright hate him like he does in some of the early episodes, because he's being a bad boy and Barnabas is calling him on his shit. So,
no, he's always coming up with those crazy schemes that he tells Jimmy Olsen about to find out Barnabas's real identity.
That's right. Yes, Carl Collins, the Jimmy Olsen of 1897.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he doesn't survive his cub reporter phase. It's very brief. Who would the Perry White be of this era?
Great Caesar's ghost. Great Brutus's ghost.
Yes.
I don't know.
I think Edward would be the Perry White.
Edward Perry White. Yeah,
I guess maybe.
Yeah, but one thing about Carl Collins is that, and this is one good thing about him, he never had the thought that, oh, hey, okay, I'm overseas. I need to bring my mother back something nice. What should I get her? I know, a head in a box.
That's right.
He said, "What have you not had in a long time, Mom?" Well, there you go.
He did initially get it for Quentin until he found out Quentin was dead.
Yes, he thought Quentin was dead. So.
He could have really saved time and just given her Quentin's head in a box.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
If he could only have found it at the bottom of the ocean, right? Where it was supposed to be.
No, that's where Harrison Monroe's head is.
Oh, well, yes. After it rolled all the way out of Collinsport down into Collinsport Bay.
There should have been a striking of bowling pins sound effect at the end of that roll.
When you see his head rolling on the floor.
Yeah, when I once posted a picture of that on Facebook, I told Julie, I said, "Hon, I have a present for you. It's on Facebook. There's a picture of it." And so she looked, she just looked at me. I won't say what she said to me, but
it was foul and accusatory, right?
Yes, absolutely.
All the reasons you married her.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. It's that.
Yeah, I really love this episode too.
Talk.
It's really well done, and you can tell too that David Selby does a really good job of selling his emotion, and he's thinking about not just Carl's death, but everything he's put Barnabas through too. Him and Barnabas have put through with each other, and when he leaves the house, he tells, because Trask comes to visit, And he's looking for Judith. Oh, she ain't here. Edward's not here. Quentin's the only one in the house. He's listening to his music in the drawing room. And he leaves. He's like, I have an appointment at dusk. It's just like, he leaves. And it's so not suspicious because, again, Quentin has many women.
He's always out at night. I mean, the guy is always out blowing his cash every night in Collinsburg.
Literally being a wolf.
Yeah.
Yes.
At least 3 nights a month. Yes, exactly.
And when he visits the mausoleum again, he sees the doors open and Barnabas is there. I like how Barnabas tries to hide it first. And then once he turns around, you see the fans come out. And he goes, no, I understand. He goes, you've been trying to help me. But did you kill my brother? Did you kill Carl? And it's like, Carl's in for it now. He goes, you must, okay, you must help me. Go to Collinwood. I'll go to the old house. And basically he's preparing to move his coffin because, he can't not move it.
Yeah.
I love Jerry Lacey's reaction to the coffin not being. There's no sign of a coffin here.
Yeah, the whole thing is I'm imagining this whole move thing, and Barnabas is going, shall I use my superhuman strength to move this coffin, or shall I call the gypsies? I think I'll call the gypsies.
Call
okay,
the gypsies. I mean, that's their station. And to Barnabas's mind, like, I don't want to disrupt the natural order of things.
That's right. I don't really, even though I have this amazing strength now, manual labor is not my thing. So,
just envision Magda.
New York at that time, the
cussing out
all over him if he had tried moving that thing.
Yeah.
Horrible fines from Equity and the Teamsters. It just would have been
absolutely. Yes. J.J. Lupatkin's crew would have to actually move it from one place to another. So.
Now, I'll tell you, that moment when, Quentin says, I know your secret, is the most anti-Dark Shadows moment and the most Dark Shadows moment maybe in the entire series. Because, it's all about secrets. It's all about,
and the tension of keeping the secrets has been broken in this scene, at least between the two of them. Yeah.
For once, the truth helps.
Yeah.
It's weird. I mean, kids, don't let it be a habit.
Right.
But for that's true. But for once, the truth helps. The truth works, and there's this imperative that Barnabas has to speaketh it.
Yes.
And get it across. And the fact that Quentin risks so much, not only for the mission and what's going on, but his own life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he doesn't fast talk his way out of it.
No. And this is the beginning of a real sort of sea change with him, as was with the character of Barnabas early on, when they need to perpetuate this relationship. They can't be at odds forever. They can still be at odds over certain things, but they have to be united about survival, and figuring out. And of course, that's also going to work both ways, because that's going to make it easier for Barnabas to discuss, how do we cure you, that sort of thing, because that needs to happen. He knows that Quentin needs to survive 1897 so that Collinwood in 1969 survives. There's a lot going on here in terms of locomotion of the goals.
The line that I would have written that would have been too much, it would have been bad, and it would have been gilding the lily. These are my specialties. Lily gilding.
Lily gilding, yes.
But it would have been this towards the end of it. Quentin reflecting, Barnabas, when I started this day, I had 2 brothers, and I still do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what happens.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's a practicality of it, and I think that Dan Curtis appreciated the shock value of killing off a character, although a lot of the audience, at least post-run of the show, more recently, think it was an awfully cruel thing to do. Carlin was going to leave the show anyway, because he was going to go out to the West Coast and do some stuff before he came back.
You know what? Carl Collins was a short timer. We all know it. All these people in 1897 are short timers.
But, you know, people post-reflect on stuff like that and get upset about it sometimes. I thought it was shocking at first blush, and it certainly was when you first saw it. But I thought that sort of served the purpose of the resolve. And also, Barnabas isn't a nice guy. I'm sorry. Oops, did I say that? You know, he's not made out of sterling silver.
He's
pun intended.
He's made out of era appropriate silver.
Yes.
And just like the perspective on love was different, and the perspective on life was a little different.
Yes.
And this was simply a problem that needed to be solved.
Yes.
You know, or as a friend of mine said of another friend of mine when she shot her husband in the head on camera and then confessed, thank goodness. Yeah. He did not survive. But he was a terrible man. And someone said something that I would not say, but it was a really cutting observation. And in his case, because this guy's terrible, sometimes somebody just needs a killing. Yeah. And that's a dangerous, Jesus Christ, dangerous sentiment. But I think that's Barnabas's thought. It's like, we have a problem.
Absolutely. This is the way to solve this problem and to make it go away. And there's no other way to do it because Carl's going to tell somebody, and it turns out he already has.
And and to think about it, you know, Carl does have this going on, and Barnabas not only has been a vampire, he's a vampire once again, almost voluntarily.
Yes.
Because he can always chronoport, you know, back and say, I'm out of here, guys. But he is embraced by the beast once more, and that changes him. Not the fact that he uses humans as sustenance, although I think that probably has a little something to do with it, but the fact these people are all short timers to Barnabas. Right. They have none of the existential dread that he has.
Right.
And so because they're short timers, I think Barnabas's perspective, probably Angelique's perspective also, is you're going to die sometime, and it's going to be long before we will. And so they are literally of a different echelon. So now the death can mean something.
Yeah. You know, I don't know what Death's business was like before Barnabas arrived in 1897, but after Barnabas did arrive, business was a booming. Sure. Oh, yeah. Carl dies. Rachel Drummond dies. Dirk Wilkins dies.
And Angelique is right when she says that you know, Barnabas, be careful. You're going to be the catalyst for a lot of disaster here.
Yes.
And it's, you know, it's true. She is too, of course. But you know, because they're out of time. They're out of their time, I should say, not out of time, but they're out of their time. They're not supposed to be there in terms of the original way historically things were to occur. However, things must have been pretty terrible before before they arrived for you know, Quentin to have, you know, gotten deep enough in the black arts to turn into basically a black ghost. So and be murdered, you know, for his trouble. So yeah, there must have been a lot of bad stuff going on anyway. So you balance the scales, you weigh that against, okay, let's save a kid and a werewolf and see if we can get away with not making things worse.
Yeah. It's really something too, because they bring up before Barnabas goes into the past, they read that Quentin goes to Europe, and it's like Julia Hoffman says, you know, the Collins Family History book isn't known for its actors.
Bunch of liars.
No, come on, like
Sam Hall continuity is not known for it.
Yeah,
which is a great way. That's a great way to solve problems that were previously stated as part of the Collins Family History. They just lied about that, and it's true.
Or they wanted to appear as if they knew what was going on.
Yeah.
Well, they really didn't.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
Again, it's a family that's about control too. Like,
Yeah, they're polishing the image always. I mean, they talk about that. Roger, even Cad like Roger talks about, the family honor and all this stuff. He's talking about is what other people see. He's not talking about his behavior necessarily. He's talking about what other people see. So yeah, and obviously Joshua was of the same mind, and whoever offed Quentin or knew about it was of the same mind.
As
and
was the lovely Miss Riley Reid.
Yeah.
Favorite scene in this episode, guys? You got one?
My favorite scene was when Eileen Wuornos came back into the past and killed Carl Collins. Oh no, she didn't. Oh, sorry.
Was she the Scum Manifesto woman?
No, that's Valerie Solanas.
Yeah. She's a monster. She's the
yes.
Gosh.
She was the serial killer. Valerie Solanas was the failed killer.
Yeah, boy. I really feel
Scum
for
Manifesto, and she wrote a play called Kiss My Ass.
Yeah, I really feel for Eileen. I mean, that's a hell of a life.
Mm-hmm. You bet.
Yeah. Gordon, you got one? You got a favorite scene in this episode?
My favorite scene is the initial conversation with Quentin and Barnabas that kicks everything off.
Of course, it has to be.
It's really good. It's really good.
Yeah, and my second favorite is the scene when John Pertwee travels back in the TARDIS and kills Carol Collins.
That's what. Okay, so he and Eileen kind of had this thing. There's room enough in the TARDIS.
My favorite scene is Barnabas killing Carl. I mean,
there you go. Now we're getting to the heart of the matter.
Okay, it's a gothic fucking soap opera. People are gonna die.
Okay? And it is one of the more shocking episodes of that. Of him having to do away with somebody, because Carl is not essentially an evil character. He's just caught.
Yeah. It's funny. I just joke with a friend of mine who's a huge Halloween fan. I said, would I want Barnabas going back in a time that he necessarily didn't belong and trying to help me? No, I really wouldn't. No, but he's the man. There's a reason Barnabas is the man. And he is the man in 1897 for sure. Yeah. I mean, he's bad to the bone, and in a good way. So, Carl deserved it. Okay, he had it coming. We'll just, you can't pull a fake gun on a vampire and expect to get away with it. Okay.
Indeed.
So, I do like how they hide John Carlin's body behind the curtain,
standing up.
That's so good. That is such shtick.
Yes.
As the hand, there's nothing to see there.
Yes.
That's intentional comedy, and Sam should be able to work that into the episode and let them work that shtick is so delicious.
Yes. And it was amazing. Really well done by Carlin to stand there too, because he has to be the one who's standing himself up and falling at the same time. Great talent. Really, really fun. Really fun episode. Really good selection. So we'll do another episode next week. Let's do episode 915. I have no idea why I'm picking that one.
915.
915.
Okay.
So, is there anything you guys want to add about this episode before we go?
It's a swinger.
Yes, it is. It is a definite swinger on a lot of levels. It coalesces a relationship that's going to progress from here very nicely. It's also a crossroads for several plot lines, and a lead into a really sort of exciting time with the vampire hunt that's about to happen within a couple of episodes. So,
yes.
Gordon, hang around for a minute if you can.
Yes, I can.
After we're done.
Link to Patrick McCray's Dark Shadows Daybook Unbound will be in the description box. Link to Alan Gallant's YouTube channel, Colin Sport After Dark, will be in the description box. Link to Gordon Dymowski's Amazon page will be in the description box. You guys have a safe night.
Night all.
Night.